Partnership Media and Radio. We broadcast 24 hours per day, 365 days per year. And we are on the platform of nrpmediaja.com. And we're also on YouTube and Facebook Live at NRP Media JA. It's now 6:33, 27 minutes going up to the hour of 7 o'clock. It's now time for us to join Luan Bramwell Shakes and myself with the NRP Evening News Roundup. Thank you for joining us and being part of our audience. Let's now move on and bring you the news right here on this station.
Good evening and welcome to our platforms, nrpmediaja.com, also Facebook and YouTube at NRP Media JA. It's Monday, April 29, 2024. I am Lou Ann Bramwell Shakes with the NRP Evening News Roundup. Here are the headlines. TODSS call attention to violence enveloping the transport sector and urges government intervention to prevent a shutdown. Driver of a Toyota Probox motor car seen in viral video, smashing car window, arrested and charged for the offense, in addition to several other unattended breaches for which he was ticketed. CCTV credited for breaking motor vehicle thefts in Spanish Town. Increased rainfall for Jamaica starting tomorrow. Jamaicans urged to prepare. In sports, two of England's biggest stars to go head-to-head for a place in the Premier League club's final. The news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are, no boundaries, no limitations.
Celebrating 3 years since our inception, the NRP brand of radio and other social media platforms on NRP Media JA is your newest online platform accessible for the promotion of your church and community activities, along with news and sports related information. It's the platform you have been longing for. So call us today at 876-336-9928 or email us at nationalreligiousmediaja@gmail.com.
NRP Media and Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
And now the news in details. President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Editor Newman, has expressed concerns about what he says is the continued attack on members of the transport business, particularly taxi operators, whom he says are being targeted by criminals while carrying out their trade. According to Mr. Newman, over the past week, some 6 taxi operators came under deadly attack by criminals, most of whom pose as passengers, and today, search parties are out for others gone missing. Mr. Newman says that this action is a clear indication that the transport sector is under attack by the same people the operators seek to serve.
From all indications, the public transport sector at this time is under siege by criminal elements. Over the past 6 days, some 6 deadly connections between gunmen and public transport operators in the line of duty. And so it is very clear that we are under siege. And we are again strongly calling for intervention from the highest level of government to help us to understand, help us to diffuse the continued tension between service providers as the public transport operators and criminal elements.
Mr. Newman says he has taken keen notice of the Prime Minister's condemnation of the student killed in St. James last Thursday, but no mention of the taxi operator that is, killed in Linstead, and the 2 passengers who were shot and seriously injured, or another who came under attack in Hanover.
The passengers who are a major attack on our lives, the same one, have been shot and injured by criminal elements. What do we do? Well, we have to do something. I'm not using a political statement, but I think time come for something to be done, either from our perspective or from the government perspective. No one knows whose blood will be spilled, which transport operator blood will be spilled on the street tomorrow while in the line of duty. Yesterday, downtown Kingston, an officer of the law was also involved while they were attacking a taximan. He came in to assist, and he was also shot and injured. A brave taximan held on to the firearm of a passenger who was ready to shoot and kill both driver and passenger in Clarendon. He overpowered the gunman, and the gunman ended up being shot. That's a brave taximan. Will he be awarded for bravery? I don't know, but we shall recommend him. It is not looking good. And I repeat again, we call for intervention from the higher powers of state now.
Mr. Newman says the negative impact and assault on taxi operators cannot continue. And if there is no immediate government action, then it is likely that the operators island-wide might have to withdraw their services.
We know very clear that it's hard to place an officer of the law into every taxi. It's impossible to place them in one, but within the space to which they operate, at major junctions, transport centers, major intersections, we can assist. We don't know what to do because we can't carry fire, we can't carry a knife, we can't carry ice, we can't carry nothing. So what do? It has come to a time and a moment when we have to put down our tool of trade. That's what it's coming to. A moment where we put down our tool of trade to understand, to allow government to understand what we are going through.
President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, Edgerton Newman. Meanwhile, the police say the driver of a Toyota Probox motor car who was seen in a viral social media video smashing the window of a motor car with a vehicle jack on Halfway Tree Road, St. Andrew on Friday, April 26, has been arrested and charged. Commanding Officer for the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Gary McKenzie, says the man has been charged with disorderly conduct, malicious destruction of property, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. He was identified as 37-year-old Peter Bramwell, an illegal taxi operator. ACP McKenzie disclosed that in addition to the criminal charges, 4 warrants were executed on Bramwell. The warrants were handed down by the traffic court after Bramwell failed to pay tickets issued for no motor vehicle insurance coverage, operating a motor vehicle without a road license, obscure registration plate, and failure to obey constable's command. He noted that an additional 40 warrants were ordered by the traffic court, and following the finalization of administrative processes, these 2 will be executed on him. ACP McKenzie said that in addition to the warrants, Bramwell has 61 outstanding traffic tickets. ACP McKenzie is urging all road users to maintain calm and follow the legal guidelines in instances when collisions occur. This includes stopping as soon as is practical, exchanging information about the vehicles involved, insurance coverage, and making a report to the police within 24 hours. In other stories, the police says they have significantly dented the incidence of motor vehicle thefts at shopping centers in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, with the aid of the Jamaica Eye closed-circuit television (CCTV) surveillance system. Sub-officer in charge of the Jamaica Eye St. Catherine Monitor Center, Corporal Genoy Forrest, says the technology has significantly bolstered law enforcement efforts in detecting and preventing crimes in the area, adding that people feel safe parking their vehicles at the plazas. He says the police actually disrupted the car stealing ring in Spanish Town, and since 2022, there is no vehicle reported stolen along the Sagicor Plaza, which was a main area for car theft. Leon Nash report.
Speaking during the Guantanamo Vale Police Social Action Day event in St. Catherine, Corporal Forrest informed that since 2021, Jamaica I has also aided the police investigations into 447 criminal cases, which included the recovery of 30 stolen motor vehicles and identifying persons wanted for various crimes, adding that this is the benefit of Jamaica I. He indicated that extortionists are being tracked by the system, pointing out that some have been arrested and taken before the court. And Corporal Forrest added that the officer further and Corporal Forrest added that during a recent disturbance in the town center where people used debris to block some roads, Jamaica I was very useful in enabling the police to nab the perpetrators and facilitating the deployment of security force personnel to various locations to quell the incident. Corporal Forrest, who encouraged residents in the area to install the system at their homes and business establishments, said it is now equipped with motion detection features, pointed out that once there is movement within the range of a camera's lens, the user will get a notification on his or her phone. The Ministry of National Security implemented Jamaica I in 2018 as part of efforts to improve citizen security and public safety. The National CCTV surveillance system allows registered private citizens to share footage from their cameras with the local authorities free of cost. Its primary aim is to use digital imagery to detect and deter criminal activity and is intended to be used in the arrest and arraignment of offenders. Persons who want to join Jamaica I can register online. Leon Nash reporting.
Thank you, Leon. The National Meteorological Center is reporting that there will be increased rainfall across Jamaica starting tomorrow. It says a trough across the Central Caribbean has been producing a broad area of unstable weather across the region since the weekend. This system is expected to move closer to Jamaica by tomorrow morning and therefore bring increased rainfall across the island starting Tuesday. The forecast is for periods of showers and thunderstorms to affect most parishes, and especially eastern parishes, for the remainder of this week, with the peak in activity expected Tuesday through Thursday. The Meteorological Service says it will continue to monitor this system. However, fishers and other marine interests should exercise caution as sea conditions will deteriorate in the vicinity of showers and thunderstorms. Detectives assigned to the Kingston East Division have listed 7 men as wanted for several crimes committed in the parish. They are Kevin Cole, otherwise called Marshall, Kevman, of St. George's Road and Glasspool Avenue, Rockford, Kingston 2. He is wanted for 2 counts of murder. Kiman Foreman, otherwise called Kimmy and Nicely. He's wanted for 3 counts of murder and assault at common law and illegal possession of ammunition. Tajay Jackson, otherwise called Chinaman. He's wanted for malicious destruction of property, possession of a prohibited weapon. Jackson is also said to frequent Wild Street, Kingston 16. Mark Beckford is wanted for murder. He is said to frequent Corner 1 Lane, Rockford, Kingston 2. Antoine McPherson, wanted for wounding with intent. He is said to frequent St. Benedict's Heights, Harborview, Kingston 17. Stephen Myers, otherwise called Evil Boss, is wanted for murder and shooting with intent. Myers is said to frequent Greenridge Park, Nannyville, Kingston 3, Little Telephone Street, and Maiden Street, Kingston 16. Richard Higgins, otherwise called Bob, and Gringo. He is wanted for shooting with intent. Richard is said to frequent Wellington Street in Kingston 16. These men are urged to turn themselves in to the Elliston police immediately. Members of the public are also reminded that it is a criminal offense to harbor a fugitive. Investigators are encouraging persons to continue to share information to aid in their investigations by calling the Elliston Road CIB police at 876-928-4200. Crime Stop at 311. The NIB tip line at 811. The police 111 119 numbers or the nearest police station. 39-year-old Leroy O'Sullivan, a vendor of Tulip Lane, Kingston 14, was shot and killed by unknown assailants along Bond Street on Sunday, April 28. Reports are that about 6 a.m., Leroy was standing at his cart along Bond Street when a car drove up and several men alighted with handguns. The men opened fire at him, hitting him all over his upper body before speeding off in the said motor vehicle. Lawmen were alerted to the scene, and the Leroy was transported to the hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Investigations are ongoing. You are listening to news on NRP Radio, your primary Christian source for news, sports, and the weather on nrpmediaja.com, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Hi, I'm Genevieve.
And I'm Kalisha. And we are the Christ All Praises. You're listening to NRP Media and Radio. Reaching you where you are. No boundaries.
And now let's give you some sporting information brought to you by Four Seasons Sports Closet and Equipment, Mandeville in Manchester.
Four Seasons Sports and Equipment, the Sports Closet, now located at shop number 3, Leaders Plaza, Nashville, Mandeville, Manchester. Call them today at 876-613-7429. Cellular phone 876-363-8323 or 876-546-0630. Yes, you asked for it and now you got it. Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Shop with us for a wide range of sporting goods and equipment. It's Four Seasons Sports and Equipment. Sports Closet, you'll never go asking for anymore.
Leon Nash will be our sports presenter this evening. Over to you, Leon.
A very pleasant evening to you and welcome now to our sportscast right here on NRP Radio. And thank you so much, Luan Bramble Shakes. We kick off on football. England may have no Premier League clubs left in the Champions League, but two of the country's biggest stars will go head-to-head for a place in the competition's final. Three Lions captain Harry Kane has been prolific for Bayern Munich, despite the German giants failing to win the Bundesliga for the first time in 12 years. Jude Bellingham, meanwhile, has lit up the Bernabeu during his debut season at Real Madrid. England boss Gareth Southgate will no doubt be among the keenest of observers when the pair meet in the first leg in Munich on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. Both men are set to be the key to the Three Lions Euro 2024 campaign, but who will prevail at club level? That's for you and I to consider. More football news now. Jamie Vardy's double helped Leicester City clinch the championship title as they already promoted Foxes cruised to a crowning victory at Preston North End. The 37-year-old former England striker, whose goal previously fired the Foxes to a Premier League title and FA Cup glory, added to his reputation as a Leicester legend with a goal in each half to take his season tally to 20 in all competitions. Kesa McAteer added a third with a close-range header for a completely dominant Leicester, who have become the fourth club after Burnley, Fulham, and Norwich in as many years to make an immediate Premier League return as championship titles winners following relegation. Leicester can now equal a 104 record for most second division wins set by Tottenham in the 1990-20 season, with 32 when they host Blackburn on the final day of the campaign on Saturday. The 31 wins the Foxes already have. The 31 wins means that the Foxes have already have equals the club record, matching the side that went up to a decade ago. Victory would also see Leicester becoming the first club to twice win promotion to the top flight by amassing 100 points or more. And finally, on cricket, champions of Surrey need only 30.2 overs on the final day to wrap up victory by an innings and 11 runs against Hampshire in their county championship clash at the Kia Oval. Dan Worrell finished with an impressive 5 for 47 as Hampshire dismissed the first time around for 151, were bowled out again for 197. Ollie Pope equaled the Surrey record for the most outfield catches in a first-class match, poaching 3 more at the second slip to give himself 6 in the innings and 8 in the game. Surrey's a thumping win, their second over the division. One season would surely have been completed well inside 3 days had a total of 84 runs not been lost to bad weather on the second and third days. And with that, we have come to the end of sports for this evening, brought to you courtesy of Four Seasons Sports Closet and Equipment over there in Mandeville in Manchester, Jamaica. That's Leon Nash reporting. Back now to Luan Bramble Shakes.
Thank you, Leon. We promise to bring you a good news story as often as we can. If you know of or are aware of any event or person whose good story we should highlight, please send this information to our email address at nationalreligiousmedia@gmail.com or call or WhatsApp 876-336-9928. That's the local news and sports. Stand by now for the latest international news, courtesy of the Voice of America.
This is VOA News. I'm Joe Ramsey. Smoke billowed into the sky over the Gaza Strip on Monday after an explosion. The Israel-Hamas war continues, sparked by the unprecedented October 7th raid into southern Israel, in which militants killed around 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and abducted around 250 hostages. Israel says the militants are still holding around 100 hostages and the remains of more than 30 others. Israel's war in Gaza has killed more than 34,000 Palestinians, according to local health officials, around 2/3 of them children and women. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is back in the Middle East, and on Monday he urged for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. AP correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
In Saudi Arabia, Blinken said Gaza's humanitarian situation is a catastrophe, and the best way to ease it is to reach an elusive deal to stop the fighting.
Hamas has before it a proposal that is extraordinarily generous on the part of Israel.
And he hopes Hamas makes the right call.
They have to decide, and they have to decide quickly.
Even without a deal, Blinken says improving conditions in Gaza is vital, while Israel has allowed more aid in.
This is not enough.
And he'll use this trip, his 7th to the region since the war started, to press Israeli leaders to boost the flow. Sagar Magani, Washington.
A suspected missile attack by Yemen's Houthi rebels targeted a ship in the Red Sea, the latest assault in their campaign against international shipping and the crucial maritime route. The attack on Monday happened off the coast of Yemen. That's according to the British military's United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Center. This is VOA News.
NRPMediaJA.com, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
No limitations.
Hi, I'm Genevieve.
And I'm Kalisha. And we are the Christo Praises. You're listening to NRP Media and Radio. Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
So now for the weather report and forecast. The National Meteorological Service is reporting that there's a significant feature of a trough across Central Caribbean. The trough is expected to bring unstable weather conditions across Jamaica for most of this week. Expect cloudy conditions with periods of showers and thunderstorms to affect sections of most parishes, and especially eastern parishes during this time. In our 24-hour forecast, tonight will be partly cloudy. Tomorrow morning, showers and isolated thunderstorms.
Psalm 37 verse 8 says,
Hold on.
don't get angry. Don't upset. It only leads to trouble. This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 7 o'clock.
We go now to our 24-hour forecast. Tonight will be partly cloudy. Tomorrow morning, expect showers and isolated thunderstorms across eastern parishes, otherwise becoming mostly cloudy. Tomorrow afternoon and evening, scattered showers and thunderstorms across most parishes. Lingering nighttime showers and thunderstorms are likely. In our 3-day forecast after tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, expect morning showers and thunderstorms across eastern parishes, otherwise mostly cloudy. Scattered afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms across most parishes. Lingering nighttime showers and thunderstorms are likely. Of the current regional weather features, none at this time. Minimum temperature expected for Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius. Minimum temperature expected for Montego Bay, also 24 degrees Celsius. That is the latest weather report and forecast on NRP Radio. With that, we have come to the end of our news presentation this evening. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. Confusion abounds this morning.
Let's go back to the top.
We will go to the headlines in just a moment. All right. Thank you for your patience. And now the headlines once again. HUDs call attention to violence enveloping the transport sector and urges government intervention to prevent a shutdown. Driver of a Toyota Probox motorcar seen in viral video smashing window arrested and charged for the offense, in addition to several other unattended breaches for which he was ticketed. CCTV credited for break-in motor vehicle thefts in Spanish Town. Increased rainfall for Jamaica starting tomorrow. Jamaicans urged to prepare. In sports, two of England's biggest stars to go head-to-head for a place in the Premier League club's final. And the news today is brought to you courtesy of NRP Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Hi, I'm Genevieve.
And I'm Kalisha. And we are the Chryso Praises. You're listening to NRP Media and Radio. Reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
Thank you for listening to the full half an hour news package this evening. Here is your invitation to join us again tomorrow morning at 6:30 for the NRP Break of Day newscast. On behalf of the entire news and production teams, I am Luann Bramwell Shakes, and in studio we have...
I am Leon Nash.
For the NRP Evening News, we encourage you to join this growing medium by subscribing to our YouTube channel at NRP Media JA. Feel fulfilled and informed. Have a good rest of your evening. And Leon, you will be reminding them to walk,
Ride,
and
drive. And please try your best to arrive alive.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for keeping it locked right here on NRP Radio. At 5 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock, we're going to be heading you now over to the camps of the Jamaica Information Service. And we're going to be presenting to you the program produced and presented by the JIS. Another half an hour of features produced and presented by the Jamaica Information Service and aired in time, allowed for government broadcasts. Stay with us as we bring that to you.
I'm Jetta Francis with the JIS Evening News for Monday, April 29. Coming up, St. Elizabeth farmers get donation of 2 water trucks. Health Ministry encourages students to engage in more physical activity, and Youth Innovator Challenge to be a key feature of upcoming Diaspora Conference. The news in detail after the break.
Wine your tongue, you know wine your tongue. Drive smart, don't ramp. Wine your tongue. If a 87 you fi use, put the 87 in your tongue. Fi know which fuel you use, vehicle manual fine it. No car in a Jamaica make fi use 87. And a petrol refine so use the octane for the car where you're driving. And let me tell you some more. If a 87 your vehicle use, you are rev up the savings for sure. Know your tank fuel right, your pocket have a smile. Rev up the savings on every mile. Brought to you by Petrojam, serving Jamaica's energy needs.
Now the news. Farmers in St. Elizabeth are expressing gratitude after benefiting from the donation of 2 new water trucks in the parish. The donation, made through the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining through the National Irrigation Commission (NIC), represents a $37 million investment to farmers in the region. The units, each with a capacity of 4,491 gallons and the ability to pump 500 gallons per minute, were commissioned into service by Portfolio Minister Floyd Green during a ceremony at the NIC's Hounslow office in St. Elizabeth last Friday. The trucks are expected to serve approximately 1,200 farmers across more than 70 communities. These include Malvern, Top Hill, Newell, Junction, Flaggerman, and Lacovia, areas hardest hit by the prevailing drought.
The idea is that the trucks will be utilized now in the drought to serve our worst hit area. And unfortunately, that worst hit area happens to be right here in St. Elizabeth. So these 2 trucks will be utilized to ensure that the farmers in St. Elizabeth are able to get water.
Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Floyd Green. A Youth Innovation Challenge will be a key feature of the programmed activities for the 10th Biennial Jamaica Diaspora Conference, slated for June 16 to 19 at the Montego Bay Conference Center in St. James. The challenge, which was conceptualized by the Global Jamaica Diaspora Youth Council, GJDYC, aims to energize the spirit of innovation among young people across the diaspora through ideas and projects in support of the island's development. Speaking during last Friday's virtual satellite conference launch in Trinidad and Tobago, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Alondo Terrelong, extended an invitation to young leaders of Jamaican descent to present innovative ideas during the upcoming event.
Let me challenge you, our young diasporans, to come to the conference, present your ideas and perspectives in these critical discussions, and showcase your innovations across various events. Help us in Jamaica to share the outcomes for action to assist in building the Jamaica that you want to see.
Mr. Terrelong says the conference's program will place an emphasis on youth involvement and empowerment during sessions and panel discussions across the 3 days. Minister of Health and Wellness Dr. Christopher Tufton is encouraging students to make physical activity a healthy lifestyle habit. Dr. Tufton noted that a significant number of young persons have been enticed by technology to the extent where they are largely preoccupied with smart devices rather than physically interacting with friends and colleagues. This, he says, results in many of them now suffering from lifestyle diseases, including diabetes and high blood pressure.
If you like running, go run a little mile around the house. If you like walking, go out and walk for half an hour. If you like swimming and you can swim, go do a little swimming. If you like hiking, go and hike. But I'm saying to the guardians here, the teachers here, encourage your children to come out of the classroom during playtime and go and play. And whatever they play, as long as it is healthy and wholesome, it is going to be good for them also in terms of their academics.
Dr. Tufton was speaking at the National School Moves Day event on Friday, April 26, held at the Manchester High School in Mandeville. And more educators are being encouraged to obtain electronic vouchers to purchase laptop computers by eLearning Jamaica Limited (ELJAM) under the Own Your Own Device program. Chief Executive Officer of ELJAM, Andrew Lee, tells JIS News that this is to ensure that every teacher in the public education system has access to the technology they need to excel in their roles.
Every teacher would have received the form that they need to complete to send it. And once they submit that, we process very quickly and get the voucher out electronically to them, and then they can go and redeem the vouchers.
The CEO also notes that ELJAM will continue to accommodate new teachers entering the system as the organization strives to provide ongoing support to educators joining the workforce. That was JRS News. I'm Jida Francis.
The Jamaican people have been asking for better and more efficient services, both in the private and public sector, and the government has been listening. But creating a more efficient system requires an infrastructure that can stand up to the demands of doing business in a robust economy. But even more importantly, foundational principles are needed to guide how this infrastructure is built and governed. So, today we will look at the government's core principles that will guide the process in building and maintaining the vision of Jamaica's digital transformation. Usually when the topic of digital transformation arises, the first thing we often think about is the technical aspect. But the government is taking a different approach by focusing on and establishing the principles that will govern how the digital transformation is executed and managed. Implementing these principles will help to create an environment where businesses can prosper through digital technologies for social and economic impact in the right way. RIGHT is the acronym for respect, inclusion, trust, and efficiency.
When we talk about digital transformation in Jamaica, we've had to put some key principles up, and we call it RIGHT, R-I-T-E. And the principles are respect, inclusion, trust, and efficiency.
Minister with responsibility for skills and digital transformation, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon. The government has decided to lead with the principle of respect because it speaks to the core of why the government wants to bring massive changes to the country through technology by placing customers at the center of the transformation process.
Everything that we're doing in this digital transformation sphere is grounded in respect. Because when we are trying to change government and trying to make government move more seamlessly, it is because we respect people. When we're building systems, we need to think about our customers. If we respect people, we don't have them standing in long lines. If we respect people, we don't have inefficient processes. If we respect people, you don't ask them for the same information over and over again.
The second principle the government wants to emphasize is that of inclusion. This speaks to the need for the government and business community to meet the public where they are in order to provide them with essential services.
Especially in a country where we have people who are afraid of tech and this digital transformation process that we are on, you're going to find people being scared. And so it's very important that as we do digital transformation, we do it in an inclusive manner, understanding that not everybody's at the same level or a same stage of adoption. And so we have to develop our systems with that in mind. We have to look at what technology do they use? They use WhatsApp a lot. Are we doing enough in government to deliver services through WhatsApp?
Admitting that Jamaica has a low trust environment, Minister Dixon reiterated that if the digital transformation is to be successful, then the issue of trust will have to be addressed.
We're in a low trust environment in Jamaica in many, many respects. And so we have to create systems that have trust embedded in them. It is important that people feel that these systems are secure. That's just one element of the trust, because when you have any kind of data breach, it gives people the chance to say, okay, I knew I shouldn't have gone down this road. I shouldn't have given my information in this way. And so building systems that have trust embedded in them is very important.
Now, we've all read the stories and social media feeds of dissatisfied customers who find it difficult to do business in Jamaica. And this is something the government is aware of and wants to tackle head on.
Efficiency is very important, and especially in our government sphere and even in our private sector sphere. How do we get to be more productive? A lot of that links back to efficiency of our operations. And even in government, where we're not the most efficient entity, it is critical that we improve in terms of our own efficiency.
Minister with responsibility for skills and digital transformation, Dr. Dana Morris Dixon. So, what are your thoughts? What do you think about where the government is going with this digital transformation and the principles that will govern its execution? If you have thoughts and comments, visit any of our social media channels and leave your comments. And we're out of time for today, but to hear this and other interesting features, visit gis.gov.jm. I've been your host, Joel Samuels. Bye for now.
On today's program, we share an update about the interception of communications legislation. I'm Anjui James Sawyer. Stay tuned. Amendments to the Interception of Communications Act have been tabled in the House of Representatives to bolster efforts to provide security agencies with all the resources that are available for them to effectively carry out their duties. The Interception of Communications Act came into operation on March 15, 2002 to facilitate the interception of communications sent by means of telecommunication network and for connected matters.
The Act was gone through a number of amendments, 205, 206, 209, 2020, 2021, 2013, and with the latest amendment in January 1, 2015.
Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. The legislation allows designated individuals in the police force, the military, and other investigative bodies to obtain information on persons who are involved in criminal activities.
The legislation authorizes the interception of communication of a specific person named in a warrant and enables authorized officers to request technical information from the telecommunications service providers under the Telecommunications Act. So if you report of a terrorist action somewhere, a potential terrorist action, you can do so immediately and then get the thing sorted out. So there is no attempt to, in fact, change the station. It's in fact designed to assist in adapting to the developing technology which allows for communication of many means very quickly and in certain activities.
In order to secure the right to intercept such information, the security forces must first go before a High Court judge and establish a legitimate case for doing so.
The security forces must go to a High Court judge, in fact, with the Chief Justice, and gets a warrant to investigate. They must establish a prima facie case that they have an investigation proceeding. This order seeks to allow the force to deal with extreme circumstances That's just a factor. Specialized circumstances must be, and they must go to the court within 72 hours.
The designated officers who are allowed to obtain the information include the Chief of Defense Staff, the head of the Military Intelligence Unit, the Commissioner of Police, the Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of the Narcotics Unit, the Assistant Commissioner in charge of the National Intelligence Bureau, and the Director General of the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency.
Access to real-time information, of course, becomes essential in the work of these agencies. We are preserving the lives of Jamaicans. Holding lives in extreme violent situations, in particular issues like kidnapping, are encountered.
Dr. Chang says with the designates in place, it is expected that the response capabilities will be bolstered to effectively intervene in life and death situations. The current solution is being tabled to be appropriately aligned with offenses under the Firearms Act.
This amendment is necessary to enable authorized officers, as defined in their legislation, applied to a judge in chambers for warrant authorizing the interception of communication of persons to prevent or detect offenses against the firearm legislation. The amendment provides access to the new offenses created by the legislation and manages the risk of denial of application to the court for intercept.
Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. Stay tuned to JRS Radio for updates about the amendments to the Interception to Communications Act. You can also visit jis.gov.jm or connect with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks for listening. I'm Anjui James Sawyers.
The Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing the Domestic Violence Act wants to hear from you. Review the Act and share your opinions with the committee. You can find a copy of the Act on the Parliament's website at www.japarliament.gov.jm under the heading Publications. Once you have reviewed the Act, submit your written opinions by Tuesday, April 30, 2024 to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or clark@japarliament.gov.jm. Let your voice be heard.
Talking about transportation, transporting the past, the present, and the future generation. Whether taxi, private vehicle, or bike, your two bicycle wheel, them are a hike. Listen up quick, you coulda young or you old. Up on the bus, cause we are got the road.
In the traffic environment, all road users have equal rights, but many times pedestrians are not treated with the courtesies and consideration they deserve. Stay tuned to The Road as head of the Police Traffic Branch, ACP Gary McKenzie, explores practices impacting pedestrian transportation and highlights the law and rules. Pedestrian travel, or walk foot as we sometimes call it, is a primary mode of transportation that at times is given little regard by the motoring public. These road users are placed at great risk when the road traffic laws and rules are not observed or courtesies extended. Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, explains that the police continue to have challenges with motorists failing to stop for pedestrians at crossings, which is an offense.
You can't stop unless you observe that someone is about to cross. And you can't start to slow down to stop when someone is on the pedestrian crossing. So the time to observe is when someone is on the sidewalk, adjacent or in line with the pedestrian crossing, or very near to, or if there is no sidewalk, then the person may be on the verge or the hard shoulder.
ACP McKenzie asserts that observing when a pedestrian is in the vicinity of a pedestrian crossing is not open for interpretation, as it is very clear according to the law.
Now, once someone is observed in that area, then it is incumbent on the motorist to slow down and stop and allow the person to cross along the pedestrian crossing.
In the meantime, the head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch cautions motorists against stopping close to the pedestrian crossings, which he says drives fear into pedestrians. ACP McKenzie points out that where there is a stop line, motorists should observe this road marking.
There is a stop line in most instances where there is a pedestrian crossing. It is important to stop beyond that line. There are a few that don't have the line, but in most instances, maybe over 85% of the time, there is a line there on both approaches, and that's where you need to stop.
He warns against motorists moving off before allowing pedestrians to get safely across.
People are impatient a lot of the times. Whilst the person is on the pedestrian crossing, they drive off. As long as the person is on the pedestrian crossing, you ought not to be passing over it. Sometimes someone is crossing from one side and another set of persons who are on the other side see the opportunity and try to cross at the same time. So the observance is something which is very important.
Equally important, ACP Mackenzie informs, is the fact that pedestrians have a responsibility to stay safe in the traffic environment. He notes that rules on pedestrian use have been added to the new Road Traffic Act and regulations, which should be obeyed. However, motorists should also exercise care to protect life and limb.
Generally speaking, the pedestrian feel that, okay, I have the right of way, and so I can use the road anyway. No, that's not the case now. There are rules governing how the roads are to be used, but at the same time, once the pedestrian is in the process of crossing, whether the light is on green or not, the expectation is not that the motorist will drive to try and run over the pedestrian. When we look at the offense, for example, of careless driving, and when we do our investigations, we also have to look at what did the motorist do or the road user to avoid the crash.
Head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch, PSTEB, ACP Gary Mackenzie. And that's where we leave you for the road this week. Remember to travel safely. I'm Cheryl Johnson Hamilton.
Consumer protection contributes to dynamic and effective markets for businesses to grow. It encourages consumer demand, which drives innovation and economic development as businesses are required to maintain good quality of their products and services. Bank of Jamaica's BOJs recently introduced automated banking machines ABM service level standards for deposit-taking institutions DTIs are consistent with the government's move to develop a comprehensive framework for the operations of conduct and consumer protection within the financial sector. On today's Going for Growth, we'll delve into how the service level standards for ABMs form part of the regulatory framework being developed for the financial sector and how they will increase protection to customers. Stay with us. Senior Deputy Governor of the BOJ, Dr. Wayne Robinson, explains that the rationale behind the BOJ's decision to issue these new service guidelines stemmed from events during 2023 where the operations of couriers and ABMs were threatened by criminals. This, he says, impacted the citizens' ability to get money from ABMs.
We had the attacks on Beryllium. We had the increasing incidents of robberies and vandalism of ATMs. And all of this was happening at a time when the banks were in the process of upgrading the ATMs and their systems to accept and dispense the new banknotes. So therefore, the customers and the banks themselves really faced a real problem, which was a concern for us here at the BOJ and also a concern of the government.
As part of the BOJ's service standards, deposit-taking institutions, DTIs, have a 9-month transition period within which to bring themselves into conformity with all the new ABM guidelines. Dr. Robinson says the BOJ deemed this timeline reasonable and a feasible window for them to start meeting the majority, if not all, of the standards.
It doesn't mean that we're waiting on 9 months for us to see an improvement. In fact, we're already seeing improvements, for example, in our uptime. This is a comprehensive set of reforms that covers a whole range of issues. And it will take time for the banks to implement systems and procedures to address some of these. They have a number of measures in place already, but it's going to take time to implement a number of others.
Senior Deputy Governor of the BOJ, Dr. Wayne Robinson. Meanwhile, BOJ Deputy Governor Dr. Jide Lewis says the framework for monitoring DTI compliance within the new standards is being implemented.
Banks are required on a monthly basis to submit to the Bank of Jamaica detailed information on the performance of each of their ABMs across their network. That information will cover things such as whether or not those ABMs were operational during the reporting period, the percentage of time that they were non-operational, information around cash availability, how much cash it dispensed, how much cash it received, and also in terms of their recovery time, how long did it take for that ABM to be serviced in such a way that it was available to the public.
Dr. Lewis highlights provisions under the Banking Services Act BSA to address non-compliance by DTIs after the 9-month transition period has expired. The BSA allows the central bank the latitude to effect certain actions where widespread non-adherence or non-compliance has been determined, noting that this falls in the area of safety and soundness.
So at that point, what we'll be doing is seeking to do detailed reviews of each DTI in relation to their adherence to the guidelines. If we find widespread non-adherence, they will come under increased supervisory scrutiny, which could include on-site examinations. We'll be looking not just at what we see on-site, but we'll be using information that we glean from the public to inform those reviews where we review.
BOJ Deputy Governor Dr. Jide Lewis. That's all we have for you today. I'm Warren Bertram. Thanks for listening. Join us next week as we continue going for growth.
My HR Plus has been a game changer since its implementation. Employees have greater access and control over their personal information. They can view their records online, track monthly payments, and the big deal is printing their own payslip without waiting on HR. I am Julian Tomlinson, Human Resources Manager at GIS, and I endorse My HR Plus in building a better public sector.
Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
JIS Radio presents Roundabout JA, a 5-minute feature on local news, ideas, people, places, and things. Roundabout JA.
On today's program, farmers in St. Bess access water to combat drought conditions through the donation of 2 water trucks to serve the parish. And later, did you know that April is Stress Awareness Month? As we wrap up the month, we share support just in time for the finish. I'm Joy Kelly. Let's go Roundabout JA.
The Revenue Appeals Division office at 12 Ocean Boulevard, Kingston, will be closed for renovations for approximately 3 months. During this time, persons are asked to make contact with the division via email or telephone. All non-electronic files and correspondences should be addressed to the Revenue Appeals Division and delivered to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service Head Office at 30 National Hero Circle, Kingston 4. The division will communicate directly with interested parties regarding the mode and location of hearings and meetings. For more information, you may contact the division at 876-932-4993, text or call 658-208-2558, or email appeal.rad@mof.gov.jm.
Last week, Portfolio Minister Floyd Green commissioned not 1 but 2 water trucks into service during a ceremony at the National Irrigation Commission's Hounslow office in St. Elizabeth.
So I'm very happy to be here in St. Elizabeth as we continue our ongoing efforts to support our farmers, especially in this time of drought. And it is wonderful that we're here to deliver to the farmers something that can help them maneuver this difficult time, secure their investments, and see profitability. So today we're here to commission 2 new water trucks.
farmer Tisha Robinson expressed gratitude while describing the impact of the donation.
It's very important because the long drought and sometimes the irrigation system we have, so it extends to a different section. Sometimes the farmer them kind of not difficult with water. So we get a good produce from the truck to fill up our tanks. When we fill up our tanks, it go by the drip. So it's a good help to us farmers.
The units, each with a capacity of 4,491 gallons and the ability to pump 500 gallons per minute, represent a $37 million investment in the parish.
The Joint Select Committee of Parliament reviewing the Domestic Violence Act wants to hear from you. Review the Act and share your opinions with the committee. You can find a copy of the Act on the Parliament's website at www.japarliament.gov.jm under the heading Publications. Once you have reviewed the Act, submit your written opinions by Tuesday, April 30, 2024 to Clerk to the Houses, Gordon House, 81 Duke Street, Kingston, or clerk@japarliament.gov.jm. Let your voice be heard.
One of the national strategies under security and safety for Vision 2030 Jamaica is to strengthen the capacities of communities to participate in creating a safe and secure environment. To access the full National Development Plan, visit vision2030.gov.jm. You may also contact the Planning Institute of Jamaica at 876-960-9339.
The vision has started already.
And before we go, as we look at ways to lighten our stress load, here's a question for you. When's the last time you took time to smell the roses, literally? Our suggestion is to listen to the soothing sounds of nature as stress relief. Have you ever listened to a shower of rain? How about a river? And when's the last time you really paid attention to night sounds or birds? The next time you're feeling the pressures of life, try it. We call it listening, but it is a thing. It's called sound therapy, and studies have shown sounds of nature physically alter our brain's connections, reducing our body's natural fight or flight instinct. That's it for today's program. Join us next time when we'll highlight happenings round about JA. Until then, I'm Joy Kelly with studio engineer Joel Samuels. Walk good.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Stand by. Get here, so. Thank you so much for listening there to the latest from the Jamaica Information Service and aired in time allowed right here on NRP Radio for government broadcast. We're going to be heading up now over to the radio platform at nrpmediaja.com for the continuation of programming right here on this station. For those of you who came on to YouTube and Facebook Live in our evening news roundup and the extension of the roundup into the JIS packages, we want to say thanks to you and invite you to join us again tomorrow morning at 6:30 for the NRP Break of Day newscast. Of course, we do have other features that will be coming on. The NRP Break of Day, which comes on at 5:30 a.m. And 6 o'clock, we've got the jazz package. Then the news at 6:30. Then at 7 o'clock, we do have Let the Word Speak. And then at 7:15, we take a journey over to GGFM over there in Brownstown for a link until 9 o'clock. So we've got much to offer you on this platform. So we urge you to continue to come over nrpmediaja.com and please extend the invitation to others to subscribe to our NRP Media JA YouTube channel, and of course click share and invite others over too. Thank you so much. Have for yourselves a great evening as we make our way now to bring you back now over to the radio platform nrpmediaja.com.
Discover the power of seamless connection with Solutions, your go-to wireless internet provider. Right here in your backyard, our expert team delivers state-of-the-art service promptly and professionally. Choose from our comprehensive packages, AirSpeed, Home, Advanced, or Custom, all designed for the data-driven user. Ready for lightning fast internet? Call us at 876-333-1926 or 876-333-1927 and be online within hours. Silvertsu Communications, where we're not just connecting homes, we're building communities through technology.
Radio listener, welcome to NRP Sports 365 right here on NRPMediaJA.com with
Coach Lutz, Mount Circles, Ludlow Ladini Vaka. Here, Coach Lutz and guests
give you the sports of the day and interesting happenings as they arise. Tune in to NRP Radio, hear the stories, and enjoy the excitement. Every Saturday and Tuesday afternoon, right here on NRPMediaJA.com.